Directors of the St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. Welcome everybody to our August 18th, 2020 meeting. I just had a couple of announcements I wanted to make before we get started. If you haven't already, if you're a landlord and you're having trouble with your tenants are struggling getting their rent together in these times, if you haven't already, you might want to tune in. We have a Zoom meeting every Friday at 11 a.m. You can find a link to it on our website, STLREIA.com, or also on Meetup, where we talk with the lawyers at Davis Travaglini LLC. And they give us an update on what's going on in the St. Louis area in the court system, and with some resources. They've got a great list of resources. In fact, we posted them on our website. There's a link to other resources that we can refer our tenants to financial assistance during these times. So I just want to make everybody aware of that if you're not already. And then also, it sounds like John's got several other meetings lined up for September. And as soon as the details are available, we'll have those on our website, and I'll get them on Meetup too. So anyway, tonight's guest speaker, our main event here, our tonight's speaker has something to share that's going to be extremely powerful and unique with you. Before I bring him on, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's began his career in real estate as a real estate investor and entrepreneur at the age of 21. And over the past 20 years, he's been involved in hundreds of residential and commercial deals. And he's also started, owned, and operated several successful businesses. As a master trainer for George Anton's company, Fynanc, he's on a mission to help people create financial freedom, which is why he's with us here tonight. Through their one-of-a-kind education, training, we'll be building the world's largest network of finance hackers, everyday folks who are learning to leverage the financial system in incredible ways to build wealth and on autopilot and live happier and more fulfilling lives. Tonight, he's going to cover a fantastic topic, hacking finance, how to make the financial system build your wealth for you on autopilot without investing. How does that sound? Pretty good. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Paul Rossano. Thank you, Paul.
Awesome. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. I'm really grateful to be here. I was really looking forward to coming out and seeing you all in person again. I think it's been maybe a couple of years since I've been out there.
2 years.
2 years, right, Lloyd? And
right.
As circumstance would have it, we're doing everything virtually these days. So grateful to be here. Grateful we have the technology and that I'm actually able to still see you all and share this incredible training with all of you here tonight. So I want to thank John and Lloyd. John, it's always great working with you. Lloyd, great to see you and really appreciate the opportunity. And I really want to acknowledge all of you that are on this webinar, on this Zoom meeting right now. Acknowledge you for taking the time out of your lives to be here. I'm sure even though there's not many places we can go these days, there's still a lot of other stuff you could be doing. I have no doubt about it. So I just really want to acknowledge your investment of time and let you know that I'm going to do everything that I can in the next 90 minutes or so to make sure you get the most out of this investment of your time, because I know that time is precious. And with that being said, I have some extremely, extremely fascinating information to share with you tonight. So buckle up, hold on to your seats, get ready for an incredible ride here. And that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I can. John is still saying that I'm not able to share my screen, so if we can get that enabled, that would be great.
Let's see here. Try that.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to take you all through a PowerPoint presentation. And again, the topic tonight is hacking finance. How to make the financial system build your wealth for you on autopilot without investing. And it's as fascinating as it sounds. Essentially, what I'm going to share with you is stuff that, at the end of the day, really only the ultra wealthy people in this country and on this planet know about. Is really how to, all these ins and outs, legal loopholes in the financial system, and how to make the financial system, which is very big and very powerful and actually works against all of us, how to make it work for you instead of it working against you. So again, pay really close attention, take good notes, because we're going to dive into some really fascinating stuff here tonight. So before I dive into the training and really start teaching you about this topic, I want to share with you where this came from. So this hacking finance and these strategies, where it all started and where it came from. So George Antone, for those of you who don't know, some of you may or may not know about our company. Again, we were there 2 years ago. I taught a 2-day workshop out there. But George Antone is the founder of our company. And George Antone, he's the genius behind it all. He's the creator of our training. And I'm a lucky guy that gets to share this message and teach his brilliance all over the country, and have for a number of years. So George gets invited to speak all over the country. And he has for the last 15 years or so. He's been speaking all over the place. And a number of years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, George was speaking at this event in Palm Springs, California. And there were about 500 people at this event, and George delivered his presentation, and he gets done and he's walking off stage. And as George is walking off stage, this woman walked up to him and asked him a really interesting question. And what she asked him was this. She said, "George, is there a way to build financial security without investing in stocks, bonds, or real estate, or even selling anything or starting a business?" So George chuckled when he heard her ask this question, because he thought she was kidding at first. Because, you know, how could you possibly build wealth or financial security without doing any of these things? But then George looked in this woman's eyes, and he could tell looking in her eyes that she was not joking. She was not kidding at all. And what he saw in this woman's eyes was this look of fear and desperation. And she was probably in her late 50s or early 60s, and, you know, was nearing what she was hoping was the end of her career. She had been working her whole life. She had managed to save some money, but not enough to retire on. And she was wondering, how can I grow my money without risking losing it? Because with all of these traditional methods to build wealth or grow money, there's a risk you're going to lose your money, right? So George, realizing this woman was not joking, and being the man that he is, and I'll share a little bit more about George with you here in just a few minutes, but being who he is, decided to take it on himself to research this and see if there was a way he could help this woman. And he realized there were a lot of other people out there that were wondering the same question. And so George went to work researching, and sure enough, he discovered something extremely fascinating. And what he discovered was this whole new paradigm for building wealth that most people have no clue even exists. And so George decided to call this new paradigm for building wealth hacking finance, okay? Hacking finance. So I'm going to share with you what hacking finance is here on the screen in 4 bullet points, just high level what hacking finance is. And we're going to dive into a lot of detail about this here tonight. So basically with hacking finance, it's 6 hours or less per month of your time. And that's enough time to learn and implement what I'll call a financial shortcut or legal loophole in the financial system, a strategy that will have the financial system working for you in some way, shape, or form, okay? So the way George has designed this whole training is that it takes 6 hours or less per month. Again, that's enough time to learn and implement at least one strategy per month, all right? And then once you learn and implement these strategies, they're set on autopilot. So you learn how to set it on autopilot, and literally just month after month and year after year, these strategies will be building your wealth for you and growing your money without requiring any more work from you. They're on autopilot. No investing is needed for these strategies. Now, this might sound a little strange because you're obviously a real estate investment association, right? So you're all here as investors, or you're learning how to be investors. I'll share with you, like Lloyd shared, I'm an investor. I have been for over 20 years. George is an investor. He's a financier. He's a lender. He's all sorts of things. So we invest, and we're huge proponents of investing. We teach investing. However, in order to answer this woman's question and help her out and all the other people out there wondering the same thing, these particular strategies could not require investing. So with hacking finance, no investing is needed, all right? And they're low risk strategies. I mean, extremely, extremely low risk. So you might look at these characteristics on the screen and be like, how is it possible something with these characteristics could be effective to help me build wealth and grow my money? And I'm going to show you tonight just how effective these are. I'm going to give you as much of a sneak peek into how this works as possible tonight. And I'm actually going to be teaching you one of the strategies here tonight on this training. So really my objective here tonight for all of you that are here is to open your eyes to this powerful new paradigm that can help you build wealth without making risky investments. All right. So that's my objective here tonight. And a little bit about me. I know Lloyd just shared a little bit about me, just a little bit more details about my background, who I am, why I'm here, and why I'm the one teaching you this, and why you should pay attention and listen to me and what I have to say here. So I have a finance degree. Went away to college right out of high school. Had no clue what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew I loved numbers. So I got a degree in finance and then graduated college 4 years later. Still kind of had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. Knew I didn't want to do the corporate world, the 9-to-5 thing. And I met a mentor as soon as I graduated college. A few months after, I was 21 years old. He was a young, successful real estate investor in New York, which is where I'm from. And he took me under his wing and started showing me the ropes of real estate and how to invest and how to make money. And so I got involved full time in real estate at the age of 21. And I've been involved in real estate ever since. And done hundreds and hundreds of deals on both the residential and commercial side of the business, just about every strategy you can imagine as far as from an investment standpoint I've been involved in. So a lot of experience on the real estate side of things. Also an entrepreneur, like Lloyd had said. I've owned and operated several successful businesses. And another thing important for you to know about me is I am a growth junkie. So the same mentor who got me into real estate and taught me how to be successful in real estate also got me into this whole world of personal and professional development. So really also for the last 20 years, I've been doing everything I can to expand my capacity and my ability to be successful and have an impact in the world. So reading books, listening to audio programs, used to be tapes back in the day when I was driving around in my car, attending seminars, hiring coaches, hiring mentors, all these things. And that's paid off tremendously. But I'm a growth junkie. I'm assuming some of you can relate to what that's like. And I love teaching way more than I love learning, but now I get to teach. And I've been doing this with George for the last 6 years. And I love being on this side of things and getting to give back and help other people create success at this point. So I really love what I do. And I'm trained, mentored, and personally handpicked by George Antone, the founder of our company, to be the one who normally is traveling all over the country, now delivering this virtually to people all over the country. But that's a little bit about me and my background. So let me just share a little bit about George with you as well. George Antone, again, the founder of our company, the creator of this training. A little bit about George and why you should listen to him, because he's the one that created this training, right? So George started out in the high-tech space. His career started as a software developer, and he worked for a few small, tiny little companies that you may have heard of. One of those companies being Microsoft, really tiny little company. Another one being Intuit, the developers and makers of QuickBooks and Quicken Financial Planner. And EA Sports was another one. So George was a developer, and he was making great money at a really young age. But he was working those typical developer hours, and he was working, 60, 70, 80 plus hours a week. He had a wife and 3 young kids, and he was just not enjoying the lifestyle that he was living. He was leaving before the kids went to school, or after, he was leaving before the kids woke up, getting home after they were in bed, just working crazy hours. And he was like, there's got to be a better way. So in 2001, George met a mentor as well who got him into real estate. So George started investing in apartment buildings in 2001. At one point, he had a portfolio of over 1,000 doors. So he had a nice portfolio of apartment buildings. And he's also really well known for what he's done in the private lending space. So George has run hedge funds for private lending. He's taught private lending. He's really well known for what he's done in that space. He's raised tens of millions of dollars for real estate, lending, businesses, even things like infomercials. And at this point in George's career, he's a financier, basically, and he's also considered a thought leader globally in the finance and investing space. So that's a little bit about George. And all this stuff is great, right? The stuff about me, the stuff about George, about our backgrounds is really great, but it still doesn't really tell you why should you listen to George, who created this training, or me, who's here sharing it with you tonight. So I could tell you, so really, why should you listen? I could tell you George is the best-selling author of these 3 books. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares? I could tell you George was a radio host on the Wall Street Radio Network. But again, who cares? Who cares? I can tell you George is the lead developer for the world's #1 personal finance software, Quicken Financial Planner. And again, who cares? Who cares? I can tell you George founded the largest network of private money lenders in the whole world. I mean, this is quite an accomplishment, but again, who cares? Who really cares? Because these accomplishments are great, but it still doesn't tell you why you should pay really close attention to what I'm about to teach you here tonight. And really what it comes down to is this, my friends. Why you should listen to me and listen to George is because this information literally can completely transform your financial life from this day forward. Like I said, what I'm about to teach you, what this training is all about, what hacking finance is all about, is about learning strategies that literally the top 0.01% of people in this world, in this country, know and use. The ultra wealthy. These are the strategies that they know about and have known about and have been using for a really long time. And do you think that they know a little something about how to make things work for them and do things efficiently when it comes to making, growing, and building wealth? You better believe it. So that being said, again, pay really close attention, and this is why you should pay close attention, because you're about to basically get the keys to the vault for how to grow your money and build wealth in the most efficient way possible, like the ultra wealthy. All right. So we're about to dive into it. That being said, are you ready, my friends? I can't hear you. You're probably muted, so I'll just assume that you're all ready, and let's dive on in. All right. So we're going to start out with this is our agenda for tonight's training, by the way. This is what we're going to go through here. I'm going to go relatively quickly. So again, hold on to your seats, have a notebook or wherever you're taking notes, ready to rock and roll. And we're going to fly on through here. All right. So we're going to start with this self-assessment form. I know this email just went out to you today. Hopefully some of you had a chance to fill it out. I'm assuming a lot of you haven't had a chance to fill this out yet. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you do fill this out after the webinar if you haven't filled it out already. Basically what this self-assessment form is, you can see it right here on the top of the screen. It's a personal finance efficiency form. And we've designed this as a tool to help you, because what I'm about to teach you and what I'm about to show you is essentially how to achieve your financial goals as quickly as possible in the most efficient way possible with the least amount of risk. And I'm assuming that's something everybody's interested in knowing how to do, right? And just like any journey that you're ever going to go on in your life, in order to get where you want to go, you have to know where you're starting from, right? So when you know where you're starting from, you can map out the best course and the best path to get to where you want to go. That's really what this self-assessment form is going to do. It's going to show you where you're starting from on this journey to building wealth and designing your personal finance system, essentially, in the most efficient way possible, all right? So make sure, again, you fill it out after the training if you didn't get a chance to fill it out beforehand. And you'll see that on the bottom, it's going to give you a score. And your score, just like when we were in school, is going to be a passing grade of 65% and on up from there. All right, so this way you'll know. And again, don't worry what your score is to start out. Most people's scores when they're starting out are way below passing, because most people don't know these strategies exist. And if you're using them, you're probably just using it by accident and don't even know it for most people. So our goal is to have you increase your score on this assessment, right? Our goal is to have you have your personal finance system and everything you have set up be as efficient as possible. Again, leveraging the whole financial system to work for you instead of against you, all right? So we're going to review a couple items on this list. We're not going to go through everything on this list here tonight, but let's just start out at the top. And this is something that I just want to make sure you're aware of. If you have filled out your form already, great. Just take a note of this. If not, make sure you write this down for when you do fill out the form. And basically for line 1, it says, I strategically choose the following mortgage. And it says, you'd put a score of 0 for if you have no mortgages. You'd put a score of 1 if you have a 15-year mortgage, and a score of 4 if you have a 30-year mortgage. So that being said, a 30-year mortgage is the most efficient mortgage to use when it comes to you building wealth. And I'm not going to dive into the details about why that is here tonight, but just know that a 30-year mortgage is more efficient than a 15-year mortgage. If you have no mortgage at all, then you want to try to get one and encumber some real estate with it, because having a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is an extremely efficient and powerful tool to use to build your wealth. okay? And again, I won't dive into the details here tonight, more about that in the full training program that we offer. But that being said, when you fill out this form, if you haven't already, if you have a 0 or 1, so if you have no mortgage or a 15-year mortgage, then make sure on the rest of your form, you can see right here on the screen, that you also put a 0 for lines 3, 6, 7, 11, and 12, all right? So if you're not using a 30-year mortgage, then you'd have to have a 0 for the rest of those lines. Again, 3, 6, 7, 11, and 12. Make sure you also put a 0 for those lines, all right? So when you're filling out your form, or if you already filled it out, just go through and make sure you have that correct so you can have an accurate score. And again, be clear on where you're starting from on this journey to build wealth as efficiently as possible. All right, next thing we're gonna go over is line number 2. And line number 2 says, I deposit my paychecks in the following account. And it says 0 for a checking or savings account, 2 if you're using a brokerage account, and 4 if you're using something called a sweep account. Now, most people have no idea what a sweep account is, but that's the most efficient way to be, the efficient thing to do when you're depositing your paychecks. That I'm gonna dive into details about tonight. This is actually the strategy I'm gonna teach all of you tonight, is how to use a sweep account to deposit your money into and also pay your bills out of. And the effect of using a sweep account compared to a checking or savings account or a brokerage account is astronomical. You're gonna see how much this can have an impact on your wealth over time by using a sweep account. And again, I'm gonna dive into details about that tonight. And you're gonna see here on this training how increasing your assessment score just a little bit can increase your net wealth a lot, significantly, all right? And that's what we're gonna be diving into here tonight. I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. I'm a little parched here, and then we're gonna continue. All right, you all enjoying this so far? I hope that you are. Again, I can't hear you, but I hope you're enjoying this. If you are enjoying this, just type in a little chat, say yes or awesome or whatever you want to type in. Let's just make sure you're still with me out there. And we're about to dive on into some juicy details here. All right, so on the screen, you see all these blocks, right? I want you to imagine that all of these blocks, imagine these are just different financial strategies, you know, different financial shortcuts that you can implement. And imagine you take one of those strategies and you go and implement it. And imagine that strategy is going to generate for you $5,000 within the next 12 months. Okay, mathematically proven, in the next 12 months, you're going to get $5,000 from implementing this strategy. So that's the case. Would you invest $2,000 to know that strategy, implement it, and get 150% return in a year or less? Would that be a good investment? Hopefully the answer is yes, because that's a pretty incredible ROI in less than a year, right? So kind of a no-brainer here. How about if you took another strategy and implemented it, and that strategy would generate $5,000 for you every single year, year after year after year, $5,000 is coming in from implementing this strategy one time. Would that be worth a $2,000 investment? Again, no brainer, right? Of course, it's a great investment. What about if you had another strategy that would generate $100,000 for you within the next 10 years? Would that be worth an investment of $2,000 to learn and have that strategy implemented, set on autopilot, so you can have that return within the next 10 years? Again, this is a no-brainer, right? What about another strategy that would generate a lifetime of tax-free income for you starting in 15 years? You heard me right. A lifetime of tax-free income starting in 15 years. I know this sounds crazy, but this actually exists, right? Would that be worth an investment of $2,000 to learn that strategy and be able to implement it so you can have this set up, which basically means that you could completely screw up the next 15 years of your life and everything you're working on goes down the tubes and you've got this plan B in place? Would that be worth an investment of $2,000 to learn that strategy, get it implemented? Again, no brainer, right? What about all of these strategies for $2,000? Again, this is a no-brainer. It's a rhetorical question, right? So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to realize that in that self-assessment form that I shared with you, that either you filled out already or fill out after this training, all of those strategies that I just mentioned, and actually many more, literally dozens more strategies, are literally built right into this self-assessment form. And so there's literal gold in this self-assessment form, and that's what we're going to be opening your eyes to here tonight. All right, so we're going to make a dent in one of these strategies. I'm going to teach you high level how it works here tonight. Again, how to use a sweep account. And I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to circle back and dive into teaching you how to go and implement that strategy tomorrow morning if you want to. And the strategy I'm going to teach you is the one that can generate $100,000 or more for you within 10 years or less. All right. So extremely powerful strategy. Again, stay around, pay really close attention, because you're about to have your mind blown, maybe twisted a little bit. It's a little mind bending what I'm about to teach you, but super powerful nonetheless. All right. So before I dive into that particular strategy and teach that to you, I want to just share with you more high level about this new paradigm for building wealth that George Antone, again, is calling hacking finance, okay? So basically, any methods that you know about, any strategies you know about to build wealth, to grow your money, would fit into one of these three buckets you see on the screen, which is trading, investing, or saving, right? These are the traditional methods to build wealth. And tonight, I'm introducing you to this whole new fourth method that we're calling hacking finance, right? So let's look at the traditional methods compared to hacking finance, just to see characteristics, how they stack up, all right? So let's start with trading. And when I'm talking about trading, I'm talking about trading stocks, trading currencies, maybe even trading cryptocurrencies these days. And so, but we're talking about trading. And when it comes to trading, this happens to be the most risky of the traditional methods to build wealth. And I'll just say this right out of the gate. We have nothing against not knocking anything. You choose whatever works best for you, whatever feels most aligned for you. Just important to understand, like, all right, well, what am I doing? What's the upside? What's potential downside? What other options are there? What other things could I be focused on, and what could I be doing to build my wealth? And just to look at it side by side, right? Just to know where it stands. So again, trading is the most risky of all the traditional methods. Trading is also what's called a zero-sum game. And I don't know if you know what that means, but a zero-sum game basically means that in order for you to win at trading, it means somebody else has to lose. There is a finite supply, and there is no such thing as win-win when it comes to trading. So again, in order for you to win, somebody else has to lose. It's called a zero-sum game. And it's actually a negative-sum game when you factor in fees and commissions in trading. But basically, it's a win-lose, right? And it's also a lifetime commitment. And these days, you know, you can study trading, you can learn about it. In order to win at trading is extremely challenging. It's always been challenging. But now you're competing against computers and algorithms, right? So it's even more challenging to win at this game of trading than it's ever been. So trading, extremely difficult, extremely challenging, and it is a lifetime commitment. You have to stay on top of it. It's like computer programming, right? It's like you have to stay on top of it constantly in order to stay abreast of what's going on. So that's trading. And now let's talk about investing. Again, I'm an investor. George is an investor. We love investing. I highly encourage all of you to keep investing, keep learning about investing, keep being a part of St. Louis REIA. These guys are doing an amazing job of bringing you all together, bringing you incredible training, being able to network. What you can do with investing is phenomenal. So again, not knocking it at all. I'm a huge proponent of investing. So I highly encourage you, keep being a part of St. Louis REIA, keep learning investing. But we all know investing can be risky, right? At the end of the day, you can lose money as an investor. And it's also a lifetime commitment, really, to learn and to continue growing and learning as an investor. It takes years to master this skill. It's like anything complicated. If you're familiar with Malcolm Gladwell's work, I don't know, but The Tipping Point is one of Malcolm Gladwell's books. And he talks about this thing called the 10,000 hour rule. Basically what that means is in order to master any skill that has any complexity to it, it takes 10,000 hours of practice. So investing certainly fits in that category. So 10,000 hours of practice and experience to really consider yourself a master at anything, including investing. So it's quite an investment, and it still can be risky. You can still lose money, right? Now let's talk about saving, okay? Saving, and again, huge fan of saving, but let's just consider this. We all know people that their whole strategy to build wealth through their life is to save every penny that they can, and we're calling this extreme frugality, right? Extreme frugality. And again, not knocking it, it's just like, what might you be sacrificing in your experience of life and, you know, and getting to do things and enjoy things in order to build wealth, all right? So again, huge fans of investing, huge fans of saving, but let's figure out the most efficient way so we can invest and we can save and we could also enjoy our lives along the way, right? So now we're talking about hacking finance, right? Hacking finance. And with hacking finance, is amazing because you can actually just learn how to be a finance hacker. You can just learn these strategies. You can just learn how to have the financial system work for you, and you can build a tremendous amount of wealth in your life. But obviously, again, you're all here as investors or learning how to be investors. So the beautiful thing about hacking finance, you can do it on its own, but as you're all investors, when you combine hacking finance with your investing, your returns will go through the roof and your risk will go through the floor. So your return's going to go way up and your risk is going to go way down when you learn all these strategies with hacking finance. So it's literally win-win-win across the board when you combine this with your investing. All right. So that being said, what exactly is hacking? Because we're calling this hacking finance, and there are a lot of people out there that still have a negative connotation with the word hacking, because over the years, the media and different outlets have focused on and highlighted people that there are quote unquote hackers that are doing things illegally, that are hurting people because they're hacking, right? So why is George calling this hacking finance? So what is hacking to George Antone? Why did he decide to call this hacking finance? And I'm going to share a quick story with you about George and what hacking means to George. So I told you George was a software developer. That was his first career. And when George was 15 years old, his father gave him his first computer, and it was something called a Sinclair or a Spectrum. And he also gave him this programming book on this programming language called assembly. So George, 15 years old, gets this computer and this programming language, this book learning how to program the computer. And he was just like over the top. He was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever gotten. I am so excited to learn about this computer. And George decided in that moment, like, I'm going to learn everything I can about this computer, and I want to study it. And I want to learn how to make this computer do things that nobody's ever gotten it to do before. So George went to work studying the computer and studying this programming language and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And sure enough, before long, George had built programs and games for this computer that had never existed before. And so to George, that's what hacking is. As a software developer, that is what hacking is to George and to most software developers. Like, basically, hacking is studying the intricacies of an existing system so that you can learn how to push that system past the limits it's been pushed before and create new possibilities that never existed before. And I want to be clear about this, legally, all right? All legal. Everything we're teaching here is all legal, all right? So that's what hacking is to George. So then, if you've ever used Quicken or Quicken Financial Planner, if you've ever played the game SimCity, or if you've ever used Microsoft Windows, which is likely every single one of you, then you have benefited because George Antone became a computer hacker, right? So he worked on developing these programs, and you've benefited from it if you've ever used them, right? So that's what hacking is to George. So then what exactly is hacking finance? Well, hacking finance, quite simply then, is studying the intricacies of the financial system to learn how to push the system past the limits it's been pushed before legally and create new possibilities for us inside of this extremely powerful financial system. So that's what hacking finance is, right? And with hacking finance, it's kind of like some martial arts. Like with some martial arts, like judo, jujitsu, if you're familiar with any of those, one of the things with these martial arts is you want to learn how to use your opponent's strengths. Like if your opponent's weight and size or speed, you want to learn how to use your opponent's strengths for your benefit, right? That's how martial arts work, some of them. Same thing with hacking finance. And take a wild guess who our opponent is, right? So our opponent, for every single one of us, our opponent is the financial system. So again, the financial system is wired and designed to work against every single one of us. That's how it was created, with these really powerful forces like inflation and taxes and interest and this thing called float that I'm about to teach you about tonight. These are just a number of many financial forces in the system that work against us. So the way the system is designed, it's literally designed to have you swimming upstream financially. So imagine if you're swimming upstream, you have to paddle super hard if you're swimming upstream, and you'll barely make any progress. In fact, you might get pushed further downstream, even though you're paddling really hard, right? With hacking finance, the beautiful thing is what you're about to learn, what you're about to get your eyes open to is our strategies and a whole system to learn about the financial system, and all these strategies, dozens of them, that basically will have you swimming downstream financially. So if you found it hard to get ahead financially in your life, I just want you to know it's not actually your fault. The system is designed to make it that way for every single one of us. And I love teaching this, and I love introducing this to people, because I don't think it's fair, actually. It kind of makes me a little irritated, maybe a little angry, that the system's designed to make it harder for us to get ahead. We work really hard. We work hard our whole lives, and the system is pushing us back and pushing us back and pushing us back. So I love working with George, because he's figured out these strategies that are going to basically teach you, okay, I can just turn around and swim downstream, where I don't even have to paddle at all almost. I can just float downstream and achieve my financial goals faster than if I'm paddling really hard and going upstream. So that's basically what Hacking Finance is and how it works. And again, you get to make the financial system work for you and swim downstream financially for the rest of your life by learning these strategies and implementing them. So that's what Hacking Finance is. And basically anyone can use these shortcuts, again, legally, to significantly impact their financial well-being and build a tremendous amount of wealth in their lives. All right. So one warning for you, though. That's in a nutshell what Hacking Finance is, but I have one warning for you before I dive in and teach you this strategy about using a sweep account. Okay. We've all heard the saying, easier said than done, right? We've all heard that saying. With Hacking Finance, it's actually the opposite. It's easier done than said with most of these strategies. So what do I mean by that? So I'm about to teach you this strategy, and I'm going to teach you, again, high level. Again, these strategies are 6 hours in our training system, about 6 hours on average to learn and implement these strategies. I'm about to give you high level, enough that you can go and implement this strategy tomorrow, but I can't teach you all the details here tonight, all the ins and the outs, all the mathematics behind it. And why I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to understand that these strategies are pretty easy to implement. And I'm going to teach you tonight a few steps to go and implement this strategy tomorrow morning. It's going to be easier for you to implement it, but to understand how it works, to understand the mathematics behind it is quite a bit more complicated. All right. Some more complicated than others, but again, easier to implement, harder to understand. All right. Easier to implement, harder to understand. But what I do want to share with you on top of that is that, again, because of George Antone, who he is, what his background is, he's a software developer. He's the developer of Quicken Financial Planner, world's #1 personal finance software. He's an engineer. He's, quite frankly, a mathematical and a financial genius is what it boils down to. George Antone, mathematical and financial genius. Because of who George is, because of his knowledge of mathematics and finance, and because of who he is in the world, the thought leader in the finance and investing space, he's constantly researching and constantly has people bringing these new strategies to him and saying, George, I heard about this, or I found out about this. So what George does, I want you all to know this, so pay really close attention, because this is really important for you to get this and to know this about George and about what you're about to learn here. So when George learns about or hears about a new financial strategy, his first goal, his primary goal, is to disprove the strategy. So he goes to work with Microsoft Excel, with mathematical formulas, and he goes to work to disprove it, to say, you know what, I want to prove this does not work. And the strategies that he proves actually work mathematically through this process are the only strategies that we teach. So what you're about to learn here tonight, everything you will ever learn from us, from George, is mathematically proven to work. Okay, it's science. There is no guessing game. There's no like, oh, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Mathematically proven. Okay, so I want to be really clear about that. Again, easier to implement. So you can go and implement the strategy tomorrow. No, it works. To understand all the background and all the mathematics is going to be more complicated. Now, for people that join our training program, which I'll share more with you about at the end, if you want to join or you're interested, you get all the details, you get all the spreadsheets, you get all the mathematics. So for those that want to learn how it works, why it works, the mathematics and all those pieces, that's available for you when you become a member of our community. All right. And again, I'll share more about that with you at the end, but I just want you to know this for now. that easier done than said, easier to implement, harder to understand, but all mathematically proven to work. All right. So thanks for bearing with me while I explain that to you. I'm assuming at this point you're ready to dive in and learn this strategy. And I'm about to teach you an example of a 6-figure financial shortcut. And again, my goal is to give you enough information here that you can go and implement this tomorrow morning. All right. So again, this is for line 2 on that self-assessment form. And we're about to teach you how to use a sweep account. And you're going to see how going from whatever you are, a 0 or a 2, to a 4 on this line, how much that can increase your wealth and your net worth over time. All right, so to teach you this strategy, I'm going to give you the tale of 2 neighbors. Sit up straight in your seat, take a deep breath, get ready to rock and roll, because I'm about to dive into some really fascinating stuff. And again, it is a little mind-bending, so just forewarning, take a deep breath, pay really close attention. All right, here we go. Let's rock and roll. The tale of 2 neighbors. And actually, I'm going to take a sip of water. Maybe you want to do the same too. I'm pretty parched here today. I'm out in California now. I'm in San Diego. We've got a crazy heat wave going on right now. So I'm going to take a sip and be right back. Okay. Wet my whistle. Okay, here we go. Tale of 2 neighbors. So regular Rob on the left, Smart Sam on the right. These guys are neighbors. They live right next door to each other. They have the same job, the same income. They're both homeowners. They have the same number of kids. They bank at the same bank. They have the same exact mortgage. They signed for it at the same time on the same day. You get the picture. Their financial lives are identical. I didn't put this up there, but little secret, their wives are actually identical twins too. These guys are living identical lives, all right? They both have a 30-year, $300,000 mortgage. And they both deposit their paychecks into their bank accounts, same time, same day. Okay, you get the point. They're living identical financial lives. There's only one difference that Smart Sam is doing compared to regular Rob. And what he's doing is he's transferring his paycheck from his checking account to a line of credit that he set up with his bank, and he's using the line of credit to pay his bills instead of using a checking account like regular Rob. So that's the only thing that Smart Sam is doing differently. And the impact of this after 10 years of using this one little financial shortcut, Smart Sam's net worth is 6 figures higher than regular Rob. So it's just a simple tweak. That's all. Smart Sam is just using a simple tweak, right? And I'm about to teach you how this works. So consider this. Most people deposit their checks, their income, into their checking account, right? And after a few weeks, we'll use an example and just say 3 weeks. It could be 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, but we'll just say 3 weeks. So after 3 weeks, the money's been sitting in a checking account. They pay their bills, right? So this is what it looks like. Money goes into the checking account, let's just say the first of the month, sits there for 3 weeks in our example. On the 3rd week, the money goes out to pay bills, right? And that means this is happening every month. Month after month after month after month, the money's sitting there for 3 out of, let's just say, 4 weeks, waiting to pay bills, right? So over the course of some time, this is what's happening. Month after month after month after month after month, the money's sitting there in the checking account waiting to pay bills for 3 out of 4 weeks every single month, right? Well, this is called float, okay? F-L-O-A-T, float. And float is an extremely powerful financial strategy that banks and financial institutions use to make money off of our money, right? So when your money's sitting in a checking account waiting to pay bills, is it doing anything for you? No, it's basically doing nothing for you, right? I mean, interest is so low, we're basically getting nothing by our money sitting in bank accounts. And who do you think is benefiting from your money, our money, sitting in bank accounts? Well, sure, you guessed it. The answer is the bank, right? The bank is benefiting tremendously from our money sitting in bank accounts. And who do you think taught us to have our money sitting in bank accounts, checking accounts and savings accounts? You guessed it. The bank, AKA the financial system, taught us to keep our money parked in checking accounts and savings accounts. Why? Because it benefits them and does nothing for us, right? So this is basically how it works. This is what's going on. The bank is using float. The bank is using our hard-earned money to make themselves a ton of money while our money is doing nothing for us. And this is happening every single month throughout your career. So if your money is sitting in a bank account doing nothing for you for 3 out of 4 weeks every month, If you have a 40-year career, all right, which is on average most people's career, 40 years, if not more. But if you have a 40-year career, how long does that mean your money's sitting there doing nothing for you out of those 40 years? Yeah, 30 out of 40 years, money's sitting there doing nothing for you, making a ton of money for the bank. And you're like, wait a second, let me get this straight. So I'm using the financial system the way I was taught to. And because I'm doing that, I'm actually hurting myself and I'm benefiting the bank. And yeah, that's exactly what's happening. In way more ways than we could ever even imagine, that is what's happening. And I'm just opening your eyes here tonight to one way that that's happening and how to use float, how to use this thing called float to work for you instead of it working for the bank. Like if you just understand floats and how to use floats to work for you, you can absolutely crush it. So this is what's going on, and crazy idea is how do we have float work for us instead of it working for the bank? So that's what I'm about to teach you. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 scenarios here to teach you how this strategy works. All right, so in scenario 1, let's say you have $5,000 of income that comes in, and you have these 2 buckets to choose from. So let's say you have a 1% bucket or a 6% bucket. You get to choose where you put your $5,000. Which bucket are you going to choose? It's not a trick question. So clearly the answer is 6%, right? So if you have these 2 buckets to choose from, obviously you're going to put your money into the 6% bucket over the 1% bucket, right? Simple enough, yeah? Okay, so that's scenario 1. Now let's look at scenario 2. And I'm going to put a little twist on it here with scenario 2. So now's the time, again, pay really close attention because I'm about to get into some of the mind-bending type of stuff. All right, so scenario 2, again, you have that $5,000 of income and you have 2 buckets to choose from, 1% or 6%. So let's assume the 1% bucket is a checking account. All right, now we all know checking accounts are not paying 1%, but let's just assume for this example that it is. All right, now if you have a 1% checking account, do you have to pay taxes on that 1%? If you did put your money in there, do you have to pay taxes on it? And the answer is yes, you do have to pay taxes on it. It's considered earned income, right? So even if you were earning 1% from a checking account, which obviously nobody is, you're not even walking away with 1% because you still have to pay taxes, right? So that's the 1% bucket. Now, the 6% bucket, this is a line of credit, okay? So the 6% bucket is a line of credit. So let's assume that this is Smart Sam we're talking about again, okay? Now, if this is Smart Sam, assume that Smart Sam, he's got a line of credit set up over here, and he's got an $8,000 balance on that line of credit, and he's paying 6% interest on that $8,000 balance, okay? And if you don't know this, the way lines of credit work, LOC is line of credit. The way a line of credit works is that you pay interest based on your daily balance, right? So if your balance is $8,000 for the entire month, you're paying 6% interest on the $8,000 balance for the entire month. But Smart Sam, again, because he's smart, he says, you know what? I don't feel good about putting my money into the checking account and having it do nothing for me and benefiting the bank with my hard-earned money while it's waiting to pay bills. So what Smart Sam does, he says, you know what? I've got this line of credit over here. It's got this $8,000 balance on it. I'm paying a 6% interest rate on this $8,000 balance the whole month. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my $5,000 and I'm going to park it over here in the line of credit. I'm going to pay my balance down from $8,000 down to $3,000. So this way, for those 3 out of 4 weeks, while my money's waiting to pay bills, I'm actually saving myself 6%, tax-free, right? So now the money's sitting here waiting to pay bills for 3 out of 4 weeks, keeping the line of credit balance paid down, again, saving that interest tax-free, right? So it's, again, pretty outside the box thinking, a little mind-bending, and it's about to get even more, so pay really close attention. And the key thing is here, you see on the bottom of the screen, it says, do you still have access to the money if it goes into the line of credit? Because you need access to it, right? It's got to be available. You need to pay bills with this money. You can't just take it and lock it up, invest it, or put it into something that's going to generate a higher return. So you still have access to the money with the line of credit, right? You can still use the line of credit to pay your bills. You just have to make sure when you're using this strategy that your line of credit has check writing capabilities. So you can just stroke a check from the line of credit and pay your bills out of it, all right? So that's the scenario. Scenario 2. Again, Smart Sam is using the line of credit. He's putting his income over there, keeping the balance paid down, saving himself the interest for those 3 out of 4 weeks per month while the money's waiting to pay bills, okay? So hopefully you're following along with me. I do want to say this as well. I'm going to not take any questions during the training. I'll hang out afterwards. I'm happy to hang out after it's done and answer any questions. Reason being is there's a good chance if you have questions right now that I'll actually answer them as I continue on. So we're going to hold all questions. If you have any questions, just type them into the chat or jot them down wherever you are at home. And at the end, I'm happy to hang out for a Q&A session, all right? So again, this is scenario 2, and hopefully you're following along with me here. Now we're about to go into scenario 3. But again, this is what Smart Sam is doing, right? This is what he's doing different than regular Rob, his neighbor, and 6-figure difference over time. So now let's look at scenario 3. And in scenario 3, I want to address something that I know for a fact, well, I don't want to say for a fact, but I know from experience, let's say, that some of you are wondering a question. And some of you are right now thinking to yourself, why on earth would I want to go and set up a line of credit and pay any interest at all because I don't currently have a line of credit? I'd rather keep my money in my checking account or my savings account or wherever I'm keeping it, earn nothing, than be paying interest on a line of credit at all, right? So I know some of you are wondering that question. So I'm about to address why it makes sense to do this with scenario number 3, all right? So let's look at that. Let's say, okay, again, back to Smart Sam. Let's say Smart Sam, let's say he doesn't have a line of credit, or he's got a line of credit set up, but he doesn't have a balance on it, right? So now he's got the line of credit, but he does not have a balance. So he's not paying any interest on the line of credit. So why on earth would he want to put a balance on the line of credit and be paying interest just to have float working for him? Why would it make sense to do that? Well, let's think about Smart Sam's entire scenario that we went over, right? And if you remember, Smart Sam has this 30-year, $300,000 mortgage that he's working on paying down, paying off, right? So Smart Sam, again, because he's smart, he understands how mortgages work. He understands how this thing called amortization works. And he knows that he's got this 30-year, $300,000 mortgage. And if he makes just regular payments on that mortgage, over time, it's going to, over the 30 years, he'll end up paying probably somewhere around $600,000 total, around $300,000 in interest. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to pay all that money in interest to the bank over the course of the 30 years. What about if I pay down that mortgage quicker, save some of that interest, right? So again, Smart Sam, he's a smart cookie. So he says, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I want to use float working for me. I want to use this line of credit. So I'm going to write a check from the line of credit to the mortgage. I'm going to pay the balance down some, transfer some of that debt over to the line of credit. So now I have a balance on the line of credit. I could have float working for me, and I know I'm going to pay off the mortgage a lot quicker too. So this is what he does. He writes a check for $20,000 from his line of credit to the mortgage, pays the balance from $300,000 down to $280,000. He didn't actually pay off any debt. All he did was transfer debt from the mortgage over to the line of credit, right? So now his balance on the mortgage is $280,000. And now he's got, let me go back. Now he's got a $20,000 balance on his line of credit. And now he can use his $5,000 of income, pay his balance of the line of credit down while it's waiting to pay bills. Money goes back out to pay bills. He's got some disposable income, so he's eventually going to fully pay off the balance of the line of credit. Once the balance of the line of credit is completely paid off, he'll do it again. He'll write another check to the mortgage, take another big chunk out of the mortgage, keep using the line of credit the same way, have float working for him the whole time. And by taking these big chunks out of his mortgage, every time he's got the line of credit balance paid off, he takes another big chunk out of the mortgage, keeps doing it, keeps doing it. And what happens is after 10 years of doing this and using this one financial shortcut, Smart Sam is mortgage free. mortgage-free, 30-year mortgage paid off in 10 years. His neighbor, regular Rob, still owes over $250,000 on the original 30-year mortgage. This is over $250,000 difference in their net worth after just 10 years. And Smart Sam did not have to invest at all. He did not risk losing his money at all. All he did was use one single, simple financial shortcut. Had float working for him the whole time as well. That's another added benefit because he had float working for him, and he saved over $250,000 in interest compared to his neighbor, regular Rob. This is a tiny little sneak peek that you're getting here of the impact and benefit of hacking finance, okay? Again, a little mind-bending, a little outside the box, but again, these are financial shortcuts and legal loopholes that exist in the financial system that literally anyone can take advantage of, right? So let's consider this. Smart Sam is now mortgage-free, right? So he's free and clear. He owns his home free and clear. On the bottom of your screen, you see this. What should Smart Sam do now, right? What do you think he should do now? If you remember at the very beginning, I had said that having a 30-year, $300,000 mortgage is a really beneficial thing to have. It's a really powerful tool. So what Smart Sam should do is he should actually refinance, get another 30-year mortgage, all right? And I'm going to expand more on that in just a little bit. So he should refinance. So basically with this strategy I'm teaching you, there's three main reasons that it works, all right? And some of you are probably wondering this. Will this work if the interest rate on the line of credit is higher than the interest rate on the mortgage, right? So we're saying it's a 6% interest rate. A lot of you probably have mortgages that are 4% or less at this point, right? Because of how low interest rates are. So does it mathematically make sense to use this strategy, to use a line of credit that has a higher interest rate than your mortgage or whatever debt you're paying off? Because by the way, this works to pay off other debt as well, not just for mortgages. So does it make sense to use it in that case? And the answer is yes. And I'm about to show you mathematically why that is and how this works, okay? So let's look at the scenario if Smart Sam had the $8,000 balance on his line of credit for the entire month. How much interest would he be paying? And what it works out to mathematically is if he had the $8,000 balance for the whole month, he'd be paying $39.45 in interest throughout the month, okay? If the month had 30 days in it. So what Smart Sam is doing, and the way that you want to set this strategy up as well, is in the most efficient way possible, the most strategic, smartest way possible. So ideally, you want to have your balance be at the highest it's going to be on the line of credit for the first day of the month. And then you want to set up and have your bills get paid all on the same day, okay? So you want to have your bills paid all on the same day. And let's just say the income comes in on the second day of the month. You pay the balance down to $3,000. Your balance is paid down for the whole month. You're paying your bills all on the same day. So on that last day of the month, the money goes back out and your balance goes back up to $8,000, all right? So if that was the case and that was what you were doing, then the amount of interest you'd be paying at that point would be $2.63 for the $8,000 balance, $13.81 for the $3,000 balance. The total amount of interest paid at this point would be, we'll get to it, $16.44 for the month, compared to the $39.45 for the month if you had the balance at $8,000 for the whole month. So I know I'm going quickly, but hopefully you're following along here. Again, this is just some of the mathematics behind what we're teaching, just a little sneak peek into it. So if you had the balance at $8,000 on the line of credit for the entire month, that's a 6% interest rate, right? But by using this strategy and doing it efficiently and setting it up the way we're teaching you to set it up, instead you're paying $16.44 for the month in interest, thereby this thing called an effective interest rate. Again, an effective interest rate is at 2.5%, not 6%. Therefore, it would still mathematically make sense to be paying down a loan or a mortgage or any debt that had a 4 or 3% interest rate. It still mathematically makes sense, okay? So again, just a little sneak peek into a little bit behind the scenes of how this works. But the bottom line here is while your money is waiting to pay bills, you can use it more efficiently, which will allow you to pay off debts faster and increase your net worth significantly without investing, all right? And that's really everything that hacking finance is all about, is how do we set things up to be as efficient as possible? Because when you're setting things up to be efficient, you're lowering something called your opportunity cost. And you might think that taxes is high, interest, the amount of interest we pay is high. Between taxes and interest, that's on average, for the average American, 70% of their lifetime income goes towards paying taxes and interest alone. So the strategies we're teaching, we're going to teach you how to recapture interest. We're going to teach you how to lower your effective tax rate to save money in those areas. But this thing called opportunity cost, you know, opportunity cost is the most expensive cost for most people. And it's way higher than all the other costs, taxes, interest, inflation, all of them combined for most people. So we want to teach you how to lower your opportunity cost as much as possible. The way you do that is by setting things up to be efficient as humanly possible, as efficient as mathematically possible, all right? So again, your money can be used more efficiently, and this is all done, what I'm teaching you here, with a simple shortcut at your local bank. It is super simple to set this up. And this strategy I'm teaching you here tonight, we call this the master sweep account, okay? The master sweep account. The reason being is the line of credit, you're sweeping all your money in, you're sweeping your money out. So your money's getting swept in, your money getting swept out. We call it the master sweep account, all right? Now this is one of our students who's using the master sweep account, Andrea. And this is, again, one of our many students who's getting incredible results with this strategy and all of the strategies we have to teach. And this is what she had to say about it. She said, the moment you realize you need to write another check from your MSA, the MSA is the master sweep account, to your mortgage. I keep thinking this is too good to be true. The MSA can't work this well. Well, it does work this well. I've been utilizing the technique for about 1.5 years, and every time I pay down the HELOC is a home equity line of credit. That's what she's using for the master sweep account. She says, every time I pay down the HELOC, I write another $5,000 to $10,000 check to my mortgage. I expect to have my $260,000 mortgage paid off in roughly 6 more years. And did I mention I haven't changed the budget by one single penny? The grocery budget didn't change. The travel budget didn't change. I still save the same amount. Somehow this MSA churns away and works for me while I sleep. Good stuff. As always, thanks to George for teaching financial hacks that contribute to financial freedom. All right, so again, this is Andrea, one of our many students using the strategy, getting incredible results. And so she's been using it for 1.5 years, and then in 6 more years, she'll have her $260,000 mortgage paid off. So 7.5 years total to pay off her $260,000 mortgage, right? So let's look at a timeline to see the impact of this over time. And let's assume that Andrea has a neighbor like Regular Rob who has the same $260,000 mortgage and is just gonna make regular payments, okay? And let's look at the impact of this over a 30-year timeline. So 7.5 year intervals, that's how long it's gonna take Andrea to pay off the $260,000 mortgage, right? So let's say 7.5 years goes by, Andrea's got her mortgage paid off. Her neighbor is like Regular Rob, still working on paying it, has most of it left to go. And like I said earlier with Smart Sam, what should he do? He should refinance. He should get another 30-year, $300,000 mortgage. So with Andrea, she should get another 30-year, $260,000 mortgage, right? And this is assuming that the value of her property didn't go up, or assuming her financials didn't change at all, and all she could pull out is that original $260,000. So let's say 7.5 years goes by, she refinances and pulls out $260,000 tax-free. Okay, this is a loan. This is not income. So when she's refinancing, this is now $260,000 that goes into her pocket tax-free. All right. So she keeps using the master sweep account. The neighbor keeps just making regular payments like most people do. And now another 7.5 years goes by. Andrea is free and clear again. Let's say she refinances again. The value of the property didn't go up at all. It most likely would have at that point, but let's just say she can pull out again that original $260,000. She now has $520,000 tax-free in her pocket after just 15 years of using this one single financial shortcut, right? You're getting the point here. So another 7.5 years goes by. We're now at 22.5 years. Andrea refinances again. She now has $780,000 in her pocket, tax-free. After 22.5 years, the neighbor still paying the original mortgage. Another 7.5 years goes by. Finally, at year 30, the neighbor's doing the happy dance, finally has the mortgage paid off. Andrea refinances for a fourth time. She now has over $1 million tax-free in her pocket after 30 years from using one single, simple financial shortcut. One shortcut. Over $1 million difference in net worth after 30 years. And by the way, I haven't said anything about what Andrea is doing with this money when she refinances and pulls it out. And do you realize that if Andrea used just one other shortcut that we teach and did the most efficient thing possible with the money when she refinanced, that's not investing, by the way, the most efficient thing possible, her net worth would have gone up by over $8 million over the same 30-year period. If she just combined the master sweep account with one other shortcut, and we have dozens of these shortcuts for you to learn and implement. Are you starting to see the impact and the power and the benefit of hacking finance? This stuff is life-changing, okay? Life-changing, and it's pretty simple and extremely, extremely low risk, extremely low risk. So it's like, when you think about it, what is the cost of not doing this? When I talk about opportunity cost, it's like most people are not doing these things. And the opportunity cost is 7 figures, 8 figures, even higher for some people over time. It is enormous how much money people are not making and not gaining because they just don't know these things exist, right? So you see, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about teaching this. I'm very passionate about introducing people to this so that you can all benefit, right? It's time for other people to benefit from the financial system the way it's designed instead of just the ultra wealthy, which is why I'm here teaching you this tonight. It's why we exist as a company, to teach you about these things that most people have no clue exist, right? And by the way, just to mention this as well, you don't have, with this particular strategy, you don't have to wait until, if you're paying down a mortgage, you don't have to wait till you're free and clear to take some money out, right? We have students that are pulling out 30, 50, 70,000 every year from this one single strategy, the master sweep account. So you don't have to wait till you're free and clear on the debt. But hopefully you're following along, getting the picture of how this all works, right? So again, this one decision affected what Smart Sam's life looked like, Andrea's life, all of our students that are using this. And it's just a single, simple tweak in the system, right? Anyone can use this same shortcut to pay off student loans, car loans, really any debt in a half to a third of the time, okay? So again, this master sweep account is one of many financial shortcuts. Dozens of them exist. And George has created a program to teach you all of them. And again, this is just one of many of them that you can use to make a huge difference in your net worth. All right. So I'm just looking at the time. I've been extremely wordy tonight and I'm running a little over time. So I'm going to speed it up here. And again, hold on to your seat, pay really close attention. But I want to make sure that I get through all of this for you. So I'm sure some of you are wondering, what are some of the other shortcuts in the financial system? I mentioned we have dozens of these other shortcuts to teach you. What are some of the other ones, all right? So I'm going to just give you high level what some of them are. Do you realize even with hard work, inflation always pulls you back? Inflation, they call this the silent wealth killer. It is extremely powerful. With a simple tweak, inflation will work for you to increase your net worth automatically. By the way, real inflation is 9 to 10% a year. There's a website you can go to called shadowstats.com. Shadowstats.com. You can see what real inflation is based on the consumer price index, real data, real numbers, not what the government tells us, 2 to 3%. So think about that for a second. If inflation is 9 to 10% a year, compounding, what does that do to your net worth over time, to your purchasing power of your dollars over time? It's very important you understand how to make inflation work for you, as well as all the other financial forces. But do you realize another one here? Banks use a powerful principle to increase yields, and you can easily replicate that principle. You can easily replicate that principle in your local bank to benefit you. It's like when banks lend you money, they don't just make 3 or 4% the interest they're charging you. They are able to stack their yields and making 30, 40%, not 3 or 4%. We'll teach you how to do that yourself. Do you realize you can generate double-digit returns in your local bank account without investing by simply using a proven 200-year-old loophole discovered by someone that Forbes magazine called the founding father of international finance? this sounds crazy. And when George heard about this one, he was like, no way, I want to disprove this mathematically. He went to work and sure enough proved that it does work. Extremely powerful stuff. Do you realize the most important and powerful financial strategy for families today is only known and used by a few? And this is something that will help you to leave a legacy, not just financially, but information. So if you have children or you have grandchildren, this is a financial shortcut that will have you be able to pass down financial wealth, but also wealth of knowledge, wealth of information. Teach your kids, teach your grandkids how to set things up, how to strategize, how to have an understanding of how things work so that they can be set up for success as well. Do you realize another one here? Mitt Romney, former governor of Massachusetts, paid a 14.1% effective tax rate in 2011 legally. That is a lower effective tax rate than most Americans. And most people can use one of his genius financial strategies to generate tax-free passive income if they just learned it. It's pretty simple. You just have to learn it and know it. And so Mitt Romney, obviously a pretty public figure, governor of Massachusetts back in the day. And this was being talked about by two guys on CNN. And one of the guys says, you know, this is so ridiculous. He's like, we really need to raise the tax rates for the wealthy. And the other guy just chuckled and he's like, you obviously don't really understand what's going on here because it's not about their tax rate. The wealthy know the loopholes. They know what to do. They know how to lower their effective tax rate. So it doesn't really matter how high the tax rate is. You know, you hear this all the time that billionaires are paying no taxes. How is that possible? Because they know the legal loopholes. They know the legal loopholes. And it's time that you all learn them too. All right, so that's just a few of the others, and I'll highlight a little bit more in just a bit. But as a company, Fynanc, so at the top of your screen and at the bottom here, you see that's the name of our company is Fynanc. We spell it with a quirky spelling, but we pronounce it Fynanc. So as a company, we find and research these shortcuts. We document and share them with our community, the ones that are mathematically proven to work, and we are building the world's largest community of finance hackers. And at this point, hopefully you see why we call ourselves finance hackers. Right? Extremely powerful, extremely creative stuff, learning how to have the financial system work for us instead of against us, right? So I've been calling these strategies financial shortcuts up to this point in our training system. Our training system is called Fynanc Academy, okay? This whole online vault of strategies and training tools that George has built, we call it Fynanc Academy. Inside of Fynanc Academy, we call these financial shortcuts, these strategies, building blocks. And the reason we call them building blocks is because all of them can work alone on their own, like the master sweep account that I just taught you, right? It can work alone on its own, but once you start combining them together in the right way, the most efficient way, they work extremely synergistically together. So the power of them combined is greater than the power of them on their own, right? That's synergy. So we call them building blocks. And this is what, when our members log in, this is what they see when they log into Fynanc Academy. And these blocks on the bottom, the black ones, these are building blocks, okay? This is just a screenshot of what our students see. So every single one of these blocks, if you click on it, it's all online. So when you click on it, it opens up another page and it's all broken down into different modules for each of the building blocks. It's all video training and PowerPoint training. You get spreadsheets, you get worksheets. All that stuff is inside of Fynanc Academy. I'm just showing this to you so you can see that the black boxes are building blocks. And then this is another screenshot. And these green boxes, these are what we call integration blocks. This is where George will teach you how to combine the building blocks together in the most effective way possible to get the best results possible. All right. So again, just to give you a little sneak peek view into what Fynanc Academy looks like. And let me address some common questions. All right. Some common questions. Why don't I know about this? Bottom line is this. You don't know about this, and they're not teaching these strategies to people because nobody gets paid a commission for you knowing and implementing these strategies. Again, most of these things are pretty simple for you to set up. You set them up on your own. You just go to your bank, you open a line of credit or a couple other things that are pretty simple to do. And another thing that has the financial system thrive off of us is commissions and fees. So they don't want you to know about this stuff because they're not going to get paid a commission on it, right? Sad but true. Another question, I don't invest. Can I still use this? Yes, absolutely. And again, I encourage you to invest. I encourage you to keep coming to the St. Louis RIA meetings. Keep coming and being part of that community. Keep learning to invest and keep investing if you already are. But if you don't, you can just learn how to be a finance hacker and you can build a tremendous amount of wealth by just doing this. That brings me to my next question. I am an investor. Can I still use this? Yes, like I said earlier, when you're combining these strategies, these hacking finance strategies with your investing, returns are going to go through the roof. Your risk is going to go way, way, way down. Okay. Extremely beneficial on both ends for anybody who's investing. Another question. I need an income now or very soon. I want to be really clear about this. Please pay very close attention. If you are here tonight on this training, at this meeting, because you're in a position right now where you need to figure out a way to bring in some income just to be able to pay your bills and survive, now is not the time for you to invest in this program and for you to learn these strategies and start implementing them, okay? In order for these strategies to work, you must have some income flowing into your life. How much do you need? Really, all you need is enough to pay your bills, okay? Naturally, just like anything, the more disposable income you have, the better off you're going to be. Same with these strategies. But as long as you have enough income, and it can be active income from a job or passive income from investments or somewhere else, doesn't matter what type of income it is, but as long as you have enough income coming into your life so that you can pay your bills, then you can start learning and implementing these strategies. But again, if you're in a position where you need to figure out a way to survive, to pay your bills, get that handled first, and then start learning and implementing these strategies. All right, I want to be real clear about that. Another question, I have debt, can I use this? Absolutely. Again, we're going to teach you not only how to pay down debt faster, but we're going to teach you all about debt, because debt is a very powerful tool, but debt is also something that can destroy you if you don't use it correctly. So we're going to teach you about how to use strategic debt, how to use debt the right way. There's some debt you may not want to pay down faster. There's some debt you're going to want to keep in place because it's working extremely powerful for you. So we're going to teach you all about that. But the bottom line is, if you have debt, we're going to teach you how to pay off the bad debt or debt that you should and want to pay off faster. We're going to teach you how to do that, right? And then another question, I'm debt free. Can I use this? Absolutely, 100%. If you're debt free, you probably have a higher borrowing capacity because you don't have any debt. So we're going to teach you how to leverage that, how to use it so that you can build a lot of wealth, okay? What resources will I need for this? Pretty simple. You just need a computer or a smart device with an internet connection. This is all online training, and just dedicate 6 hours per month. That's our recommendation. You can break that up into as little as 30-minute increments. So pretty manageable, okay? So that's all you're going to need in order for this program to work. And let me share with you real quick what some others are saying about Fynanc Academy, about this program, incredible program George Antone created. This is Rita Beebe. Rita says, as an extremely busy realtor in Southern California, I have gone through more courses than I can count, always trying to stay one step ahead of the game when it comes to investing and saving money for my family and clients. I'm assuming all of us can relate to that in some way, right? Rita says, then I was introduced to Fynanc Academy. Talk about brilliant. Wow, I am now 100 plus steps ahead of the game. This is by far the easiest, most powerful, and unique program I have ever seen, and it's all in one place, which is great for my busy lifestyle. The step-by-step actionable strategies that you can implement immediately or at your own pace are so easy anyone can understand and do them. I stress a lot about my family's financial future, and now I feel like a huge weight has just been lifted off my shoulders. I cannot thank you enough for this program. I will be telling everybody I know about Fynanc Academy. And I love what Rita says. She's an amazing woman, works really hard, really cares a lot about her family and her clients. And I know we can all relate to this in some way. We're always looking for, you wouldn't be here tonight if you weren't the type of person that's looking for ways to do things better, ways to do things smarter, ways to do things more efficiently, ways to get ahead, right? So I love what Rita says because it really sums it up. It's like, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in trainings and courses over the course of my life. I'm assuming some of you can relate to that too. What George Antone has created here with this program is like all the genius stuff kind of in one place, in one program, where you can learn dozens of different strategies that the ultra wealthy know and have been using. And know that you're on a course confidently and peacefully, be at peace that you're on this course to creating an amazing amount of wealth in your life, mathematically proven. All you have to do is learn and implement the strategies. and you know it's going to work, right? So I love what Rita had to say here. I have a ton of these testimonials. I'm not going to read all of them for you. I'll just pick a few out. I'll read Patrick Woolley here. Patrick says, George, your financial education should be required in every school. I personally agree. It has shown me how to use little tweaks that add up to huge savings. Incredible knowledge. I wish I had stumbled on this years ago. I love what Patrick says here. I love what he says because this last piece, I mean, I agree this should be in every school. That I don't think that'll ever happen, unfortunately. Because again, you know, not to go down a rabbit hole, but the schools, you know, they're teaching you what they want you to know, and that's the case. But what Patrick says here, I wish I had stumbled on this years ago. Listen, my friends, I've been teaching for George for the last 6 years all over the country. I've taught thousands and thousands and thousands of investors all over the country, people that have been investing for 30, 40 years. The things that we teach, the things that George teaches, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say this to me. I wish I had found you years ago. Mm-hmm. Where have you been my whole life? Why haven't I learned this up until this point? It's like the amount of times I've heard that is, there's no way for me to even know or count it. So the bottom line is, at the end of the day, no, none of us can go back in time, right? We can only learn new things now and go forward. But I love what Patrick says because it really sums up another really important point. It's like, again, for opportunity cost. When we learn something new that's game changing, we look back and like, man, if I only knew this years ago, where would I be now? But you don't want to look back in 5 or 10 years and say the same thing, right? So it's like, all right, let me just learn it now, get it implemented, so I know that I'm reducing my opportunity costs moving forward, right? This is Javier. This guy's awesome. He's an airline pilot, lives in Dallas. He says, amazing update. In 5 months using the MSA strategy, I've reduced debt by $37,660 in 5 months. So this is not, I mean, this is good results, but we have tons of students that are getting these types of results. I'm not sharing things with you that are astronomical or like only achievable by, you know, one person. This is possible for just about everybody. It's super powerful. I'll just share these last two with you here. Mike Fresh says, life-changing. I think it's the first thing to say. Not only are the building blocks amazing, but I feel the biggest game changer is how it changed our thinking. It has allowed us to be in a position to help others just with our knowledge. How do you eat an elephant? How do you change the world? Help one person at a time. This has put probably all of us in a position to really change our world. Thank you, George Antone. Thank you, team. And I love reading this one because I love what Mike says about changing our world, and something about us and something about George and our community that we really stand for, that's really a staple and a foundational piece for who we are and what we represent in the world, is teaching the most powerful financial strategies that exist, teaching people how to create financial success with way less risk, how to get ahead financially. And we also really stand for making a difference and giving back and contributing and following our passions and, you know, helping other people out. So I love what Mike says here because it really hits on that point. So just so you know, if you do decide to join our community and join Finance Academy and start, you know, learning with us and working with us, that's an important part of who we are, is like really caring about giving back and making a difference in the world. So I love what Mike said there. This guy, Sandor, I love, this guy's awesome too. He's a gym teacher, a phys ed teacher at a high school. He was super skeptical about joining because he's like, I'm not a numbers guy. That's not my thing. So I don't think this is going to work for me. And what he realized quickly is that you don't have to be a numbers person for this to work. Again, these things are pretty easy to learn and implement. If you are a numbers person, you want to understand the mathematics, great, but it's not necessary. And what Sandor said is I was able to pay off $30,000 in debt in 1 year. It was supposed to take 6 years by using a combination of the family bank, master sweep account, credit card float, and our financing system. These are all individual building blocks. He said, every time I feel like I fully understand a concept, someone posts something or shares another way to benefit from that concept. The depths of the strategies are mind-blowing. And I love what he says here too, about the community, because the community is super interactive. People are constantly sharing tips and strategies and insights. George is constantly in there sharing different things. And it's a really interactive, supportive community that we have of people all over the country that are connecting with each other and helping each other out. So it's a really beautiful thing. All right, so those are some testimonials. Again, we have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials, just a few, so you can get an idea of what some of our students are experiencing. So next steps, okay, next steps. At the end of the day, You're all invited to join Fynanc Academy and become a member of our community and be on this path to becoming a finance hacker. All right. And I hope you all take us up on the opportunity, because it will absolutely revolutionize and change your financial life forever from this day forward. And so for those of you who decide to join, here are the next steps after you join. As a member, you get access to dozens of building blocks. You're going to watch the Start Here training that explains the big picture, and then join the private online community. You're going to just dedicate 6 hours per month in as little as 30-minute increments. That's enough time to learn and implement a building block per month. You set it on autopilot and you move on to the next one. Simple enough. You're going to watch as these strategies catapult you towards your financial goals, and you'll leap ahead of most people as you progress. People will be blown away by your knowledge. And it's not about impressing people. It's about when people are blown away by your knowledge, they're going to be like, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? And guess what? Then you get to help all the people you love and care about, the people in your life, the people in your community. You get to introduce them to this whole world and make a difference and really help people. And step 5, real simple. We keep contributing more building blocks for you to learn and implement as we discover them. Usually once a quarter, George adds more building blocks. But there's plenty in there to keep you busy for at least a year for your first year membership, and dozens of building blocks for you to learn and implement that are already in there. With this program, there is no need to budget. There is no need to invest in distressed real estate. Again, nothing against it, just not required here. No need to invest in stocks and bonds. No need to invest in anything that requires a time commitment. No need to sell products and services. And as a Fynanc Academy member, when you join, you're going to receive dozens of building blocks and all the integration blocks to teach you how to combine them all together. And again, just high level to go over a few of them with you. The Master Sweep account. This is the one I taught you tonight. 100,000 plus building block. You notice this says fully automated, and it's done at your local bank. Very simple to set up. Again, this is the Master Sweep account, learning how to pay down debt a lot faster and increase your net worth by using the power of floats that banks are using against us to work for you instead of against you, okay? We call this a 100,000 plus building block. You saw tonight in this training how this can even be a 7-figure building block by itself, on its own. This can increase your net worth by 7 figures over time, right? So super powerful. Another one, the financing system building block. You see this is another 100,000 plus building block, also fully automated, also done at your local bank, extremely powerful, extremely simple to set up. This is the one that was discovered 200 years ago by someone that Forbes magazine called the founding father of international finance, where you're going to learn how to generate double-digit returns from your bank account without investing. Mind-blowing strategy, super powerful. Another one here, insurance arbitrage building block. This is a 500,000 plus building block. You notice this is fully automated, but this is not done at your local bank, but it's literally just one phone call away. We'll give you somebody you could reach out to set this up. Learn how to use the power of arbitrage to generate tax-free income in 15 years and increase your net worth by over $500,000 at the same time. This strategy is like literally planting a seed in your filing cabinet. You water it once a year, and before you know it, you have this ginormous money tree in 15 years. It is beyond powerful. Inflation arbitrage building block. This is a 250,000 plus building block. You notice this is also fully automated. This is done at your local bank. Very simple to set up. We're going to learn, you're going to teach you, we're going to teach you, you're going to learn how to make the compounding power of inflation, build your wealth for you on autopilot. You want to align with the Federal Reserve. We're at a point, listen, where the Federal Reserve has been printing more money than ever before. Printing more money causes inflation. All the global economists are predicting that we're heading into hyperinflation. Don't quote me on that. I'm not the economist saying it, but this is just what the most world-renowned economists are saying. So is it important at this point to learn how to have inflation work for you? Yeah, you better believe it. And it's extremely powerful. It's very simple when you learn it, but you need to learn how to do it, right? Self-insurance building block. This is a 50,000 plus building block, fully automated, also done at your local bank. We're going to teach you how to use the same risk shifting method that insurance companies use to pay less money while having more and better insurance. And it's really important to have the right insurance in place. You know, most people are one disaster or one mishap away from being completely wiped out financially. So it's really important to have insurance, but obviously we want to pay the least amount possible and have the best insurance possible, right? So we're going to teach you how to do that with this building block, self-insurance. All right. So that's, again, just a handful of dozens of building blocks. There's many, many more for you to learn and implement. And when you join Fynanc Academy, you also get access to our private online community, where you're going to get to interact with people all over the country, this is where you'll go when you have questions about any of the strategies. You just go and you can search the database and see if anyone else has already asked that question. If not, you can ask the question yourself. You can connect with other people maybe in your local market, see what banks people are using to set up these different strategies. So this is where you're going to interact with the people. We've probably got about 2,000 members of Fynanc Academy at this point, maybe 1,000 or so are in this private online community. Super interactive, lots of brilliant people in there that you're going to get to connect with. And the value of Fynanc Academy is if you implemented just one of the many building blocks and set it on autopilot, you can increase your net worth by tens of thousands, if not 100,000 plus, by just implementing one of the dozens of building blocks. So obviously extremely valuable. And our membership dues on our website right now, if you went to Fynanc.com, you'd see it's $12.97 for the year to join Fynanc Academy if you just go there from the public. I'm going to give you all a better deal here in just a minute because you're a part of St. Louis REIA, but that's what it is for the public. And I'm also going to include some bonuses for those of you who decide to take action and join Fynanc Academy today. So the bonuses we're going to include is mastering the inner game of money is one of them. So in order to build wealth, we all know we've got this whole inner world, our mindset, our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions about past experiences. This is impacting all of us in some way. It's either we're empowered in this or we're disempowered in this, right? So George went out and found the best program he could find on this topic. And he licensed it so that he could give it to you. And in this program, Mastering the Inner Game of Money, you're going to learn to write your new money story and overcome limiting beliefs about money. Extremely powerful. This is valued at $497. We're going to include it for you as a bonus. Another one here, maybe not as applicable now as it used to be, but interview with a travel hacker. One of our students is a travel hacker. He's learned how to travel around the world for next to nothing. And George interviewed him. We're going to share that interview with you. He shares literally the exact websites he uses to find crazy, incredible deals. And you're going to learn how to do that yourself as well. Again, once we can start traveling again more freely, this will be more applicable, but still extremely valuable, valued at $97. And then we're also going to give you access to all three of George Antone's best-selling books, The Wealthy Code, The Banker's Code, and The Debt Millionaire. And there'll be ebooks. They'll be in your library. When you log into Fynanc Academy, they'll be in there for you. And this is valued at $37 for those bonuses. We're also going to include a mega bonus. Okay, this mega bonus is 2 optional tickets to attend a 3-day live event with George Antone teaching the whole thing called Hacking the Financial Matrix. Okay, now with COVID, obviously we're not doing the live event. We've done this virtually now twice. When we're back to doing live events, we'll be able to do it live again. You'll have the option to attend live or virtually, but just so you know, we're still doing this virtually, even though we can't do live events right now. And at this event, one of our students who came to this event is the president of the board of directors of a community bank, a credit union, I apologize. And so this guy knows a thing or two about banking and the financial system. And he came and attended this 3-day event and left. And he said, George, at this event, you're teaching some of the most advanced Jedi financial strategies that are only known by bankers. And the guy was blown away by what he learned and what we're teaching at this event, by what George is teaching. So this 3-day event, you're going to learn how to see, beat, and escape the financial matrix, live and direct by George Antone. Learn powerful new strategies to take your finance hacking game to the next level. You're going to network and connect with others and maximize your ability to create even greater wealth and financial abundance. The value of these 2 tickets is $19.97. It's a 3-day, full 3 days of training with George. Extremely valuable. We're going to include it as a bonus for you guys. All right. So at this point, with what we're including, dozens of these shortcuts, all the integration blocks, these bonuses, most people are like, you know what? I realize I need to learn how to do this. Otherwise, I'm just giving money away throughout my life. So if that's you and you're at a point right now where you're like, all right, sign me up. I know I want to join. At the bottom of your screen, that's where you're going to go. FynanceLive.com/STL. Okay. Again, FynanceLive.com/STL. Head over there now and you're going to get to see the discounted price. You're going to get to see all that's included and go ahead and get yourself joined if you're ready to join now. For those of you who aren't sure, for some reason, it's probably one of these 3 biggest concerns that people have, right? Money, time, and doubt. This is what comes up for people when it comes to making an investment in themselves, making an investment in a training program and some knowledge and information. So I'm just going to go over real quick, high level, and address these concerns in case you're one of the people that has these concerns. So if you have a money concern, at the end of the day, you are paying for this indirectly due to lack of knowledge, no matter what, right? So right now, literally as you sit there, and every second of every day of your life, you are losing money to financial institutions, the government, and others by not knowing and implementing these strategies, right? The average American loses over $250,000 just to financial institutions during their career by not implementing this information. So you're going to pay for this either way. You've been paying your whole life and you're going to keep paying. You now get to choose, though, how you're going to pay. One way is very, very expensive, and that is lack of knowledge. Unfortunately, that's most people, because most people do not know these strategies. They don't know they even exist. Or you can choose a much cheaper way, and that's by joining Fynanc Academy, learning these strategies, implementing them one time. They're on autopilot for the rest of your life, and now you know that you're not losing money and just letting money go down the drain for no reason, right? So that's your choice. That's the money concern. You're paying one way or another. Obviously, we think it's a simple choice. Choose the cheaper way and the more efficient way to do this. Okay, so that's money. Let's talk about time. If time is a concern, at the end of the day, the bottom line is this is self-paced training. So you get to go at your own pace from the comfort of your own home. Our recommendation is 6 hours per month and as little as 30-minute increments, but you get to decide, all right? If you want to go slower than that, you can go slower. Again, if you implement just one of these strategies, just one of these building blocks over the course of a whole year, it's still well worth the investment to join Fynanc Academy. So time really shouldn't be a concern. Make the time, free up some time. Even if you spend an hour a month or a half hour a month, it's still well worth your time. All right, so that's the time concern. And then doubt. And by doubt, I just mean like you're not sure. For some reason, your own reasons, you're just not sure. So if that's you and you're just like, I'm not sure, I just don't know. We'll take away your doubt by giving you this ironclad, no questions asked money back guarantee. And our money back guarantee with all of our training is this. If for any reason you are not thrilled and satisfied with our advanced training, just let us know at the end of or any time over the next 15 days. And we will refund you 100% of your purchase price. So you have the entire 15 days to try it out and decide completely risk-free, okay? So we do this with all of our training because we know what we do works. If you just learn it and you just implement it, it will work. It is mathematically proven to work. So we give you this because we don't want anything to stand in your way of making this investment in yourself and in your future. We know it's going to work for you, so we give you the money back guarantee because we don't want anything to stop you from making this choice and making this difference for your life, for your kids, for your grandkids, for future generations, for your community, for all of it. So that's why we give you the money back guarantee. All right, so hopefully that will remove your doubt. All right, so this is what we're offering here tonight. An incredible package for a Fynanc Academy, the year membership, access to the private online community, the mega bonus of 2 optional tickets to attend Hacking the Financial Matrix live event or virtual event, and these other 3 bonuses. The total value of this package is $13,422. I told you that on our website is $1297, and this is an annual membership program. Okay, so when you join, you have access for a full year, and when you join on the website, you don't get the bonuses. So you're going to get the bonuses here tonight too. But again, because you're here as part of St. Louis REIA, because we want to support you, we want to support the organization, we want to support your community that you already have, we're going to give you an even better deal. We're going to knock $500 off the price. So you get to join, get all of this for just $797 for a full year membership. And if it helps you out, we'll even give you a payment plan. You can do 3 payments of $297. So it'll go up a little bit if you do the payment plan. But if that'll help you, we'll let you do that as well. And all the bonuses, so all the bonuses here, the ones on the bottom of your screen, that's only for the first 10 people who join. The mega bonus is for everybody, the optional tickets to the live event. And it's all available online now. So literally as soon as you join, within the next, however long it takes for the email to get to you, you're going to get an email with your username and password. You get to log into Fynanc Academy and start diving into the training immediately, right away. All right, so that's what we're offering here. I hope you all take us up on the offer and the opportunity. And again, it's financelive.com/STL. That's where you go to join. And I know I've gone a bit over here tonight, so I want to apologize for going over time. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I hope more than anything that this time you've invested here tonight has been valuable for you. I hope you've learned something. I hope you all go and set up that master sweep account tomorrow. Look, there's some more details and intricacies to learn how to set it up for it to be really maximized for efficiency. But I wanted to give you enough here tonight to learn how to go and set that up. I hope you all do yourselves a favor and make the investment in yourselves. You have nothing to lose and literally everything to gain by joining Fynanc Academy. Learn how to have the financial system work for you once and for all. You get these things set up. They're on autopilot for the rest of your life. And you're going to be part of an amazing community of really brilliant people all over the country. So again, thank you for the time. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lloyd. Really appreciate you guys. I hope I get to come out there and be with you live and in person sometime soon. Hopefully we can resume life as normal. But again, thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it. And I'm happy to hang out and answer questions. So I am going to just come back. Can you all, Lloyd or John, you want to jump back on? Let me know. Can you still see my screen at this point?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me just pull this back up and just keep this up. I realized that as I hit escape, the screen went back to my full screen, or my, not this. So yeah, I'm just curious, before we go into Q&A, John or Lloyd, do you want to share anything with your group? You want to say anything? And then we can go through, see if any questions came in on the chat, or if anyone wants to chime in with questions. And I'm happy to stick around and answer as many questions as possible.
Okay, really appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Paul, I remember I went to your 2-day workshop when you were here 2 years ago, and I refinanced my our home since then. I have not set up the LLC though, so I'm getting there. I'm just going a little slow. So I think this package will help get me energized to finish up the process I started with your advice you gave 2 years ago.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate that. And just by the way, just for you, Lloyd, and for anyone else who's on this training here tonight that did come to that 2-day workshop that we did 2 years ago, which was called the Passive Income Course. Basically, literally everything that we teach in Fynanc Academy, everything in this entire program is completely different than what we taught at that 2-day workshop. So what you will learn in this program is completely new, completely different strategies than what you learned at that 2-day workshop. So just so you know, Lloyd, and just for anybody else who did attend that workshop, this is all new, unique, different training than what we taught you there.
Okay. So can you take some questions? I don't know, can you see the questions in the chat box?
Yeah, let me open that up and go through it and see what kind of questions came in. So let's see here. Okay, just going to scroll through and see what questions came in. So Gina Braxton asks, is this similar to velocity banking? Yes, similar, but a little bit different. The way so velocity banking is, some people are out there teaching. So at the end of the day, I'll just say this, Gina. Yes, it's similar, but different the way George teaches it. And I'll just say this as well, because it kind of reminds me of this. There are certainly some people out there who might be teaching a similar strategy to the master sweep account, let's say, or one or two of the other strategies that George is teaching inside of Fynanc Academy. I mean, I'm in this world. This is the world that I live in, that I play in, that I'm immersed in, that I work in. I have never found anybody who's created an entire program with all of these strategies George is teaching in one place. So just to add on to that, Gina, if you're still with us, yeah, similar to velocity banking, the way George teaches it is a bit different and more powerful in my opinion. And within Fynanc Academy, there is so much more that George has put together, this incredible program all in one place. So I just want to mention that as well. All right, let's see. This is the same thing. Yeah, similar, just renamed. But again, once you get in, again, what I taught you tonight is just the high level of the master sweep account. once you get into the details of it in the full program, there's quite a bit more to learn about it that George will teach you in the full program. All right, let's see. Just scrolling through. In short, pay off all your mortgages. Use the LOC to buy property, and you are a cash buyer. Oh, darn. So that's the interesting thing. When it comes to paying off your mortgages, I had mentioned this earlier. I'll just give you a little more detail about it. There may be mortgages because of how low interest rates are right now. We don't know where interest rates are going to go. They may go up. They may stay where they are. They may go lower. Who knows? But having an interest rate, let's say you have a 30-year mortgage at 3% interest rate, or even lower, or even if it's 4%, it may be worth keeping that mortgage in place and not paying that mortgage off, because without going into the detail, I don't have the time and, can't go into the details about that with you all here tonight, but having long-term fixed rate strategic debt is a very powerful tool to have in place. You'll learn more about that in Finance Academy, but Dwayne had said, in short, pay off all your mortgages. You may not want to. You may want to keep some of them in place. Depends. But depends on your whole portfolio at the end of the day. Depends on all the things you have set up. And for each person, it's different. Really depends on where you're at, what your goals are, what your portfolio looks like. You'll learn inside of Finance Academy all about that and what to do and what not to do inside of there. So just want to mention that. All right, let's see. The David Randolph said, where does Andrea keep getting $20,000 chunks of money to pay it off every 7.5 years? So this is part of the Master Sweep account. So basically, the $20,000 chunk was the Smart Sam example. Smart Sam was taking $20,000 chunks from the line of credit, paying towards the mortgage to pay the balance of the mortgage down, and basically just transferring the $20,000 from the mortgage over to the line of credit. And then the way you're paying down the balance of the line of credit, essentially, that's with your disposable income. So if you got a $20,000 balance on the line of credit, let's say you're putting, I don't know, $10,000 a month, if that's the amount of income you have. Let's say you're putting $10,000 a month into the line of credit. So you're paying the balance down. And let's say your amount of expenses per month is, I don't know, $7,000. So that means you've got $3,000 of disposable income each month, right? So you're putting all the income into the line of credit, the $10,000, you pay the balance down. At the end of the month, when it's time to pay your bills, $7,000 goes back out to pay bills, and now you've just paid down the line of credit, $3,000. You do that again the next month. You do that again the next month. So if that's the case, if you had $3,000 a month in disposable income, and you had a balance on your line of credit of $20,000, that means you'd have the line of credit completely paid off in about 7 months, right? And then after the 7 months, you take another $20,000 chunk out of whatever debt you're paying off. It's a mortgage or whatever it might be. So the David Randolph, hopefully that helps answer your question. So you're using the disposable income to pay down the line of credit, eventually pay off the line of credit, and then you use the line of credit to take another big chunk out of whatever debt you're paying off. Okay. Oh, okay. Alicia Davis answered your question right after, well, before, but after you asked it. So Alicia said, David, she's getting it from her line of credit. Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Beautiful. All right. I see John put the link to the sales page in there to where you go to join Finance Academy. And then Kristen said, is it completely different than the 3-day in San Francisco? So Kristen, I'm not sure, what 3-day did you attend in San Francisco? Not sure what you attended. We've got a handful of different 3-day workshops that we teach. Hacking the Financial Matrix is only available to people who join Finance Academy. So the Financial Matrix. So Kristen, I don't know if you've already joined Finance Academy and went to Hacking the Financial Matrix. So if you did, then what I'm sharing here tonight is the same thing. We've also got a course called the Passive Income course. We've got a course called the Debt Millionaire. We've got another course called the Raising Money course. Okay, so Kristen said we did. George is awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. George is awesome. George is brilliant. George is funny. He's amazing to learn from. So awesome that you already attended the Hacking the Financial Matrix event, Kristen. That is great. It is absolutely, is it mind-blowing or what? And I'm just reading James and Wilma. We don't have access to the community though. Okay, so Kristen, I would say if you joined, if you want to just send me an email, Kristen, you can get I'll put my email here in the chat. Just send me an email and I'll forward your email to the company. We'll see where you're at with your membership. And, you know, we'll make sure that we get you access to the community if you still have a membership. So awesome. Thank you, Kristen. And then let's see, James and Wilma, when you refi your home periodically, where are you putting that money? So again, James and Wilma, I'd said there's another financial shortcut that we teach that, that will have you using that money when you refinance in the most efficient way possible. Again, you know, can't give you all of the training here tonight, but once you join Fynanc Academy, you'll learn what the most efficient things to do with the money is, where to put it so that it's growing as quickly as possible with the least amount of risk possible. But it's another one of the financial shortcuts, another one of the building blocks is where you would put the money when you refinance the house or pull out the money once a year or whatever you're doing. So yeah, can't give you more details about that here tonight. It's just not a part of this training here tonight, but I would say just join Fynanc Academy and you're going to learn in there all about it. And then Kristen, I see you said, yes, it was super helpful when we were working with a bank, educating them how to actually calculate a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. Awesome. Thanks again, Kristen. Really appreciate that feedback. So it looks like that's all the questions that came in. So if anybody else is still on, if anybody still has any questions, again, I'm happy to hang out, answer any questions you have. And if not, we can wrap it up. And again, just really acknowledge all of you. Really appreciate your time. I hope you make a smart decision. I always love to, George and I both love to share this quote from one of my favorite mentors, Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins. And he says, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And I love that quote because there's so much truth to it. It's like, you know, every single one of us is where we are today, right now, because of the decisions we've made up to this point. And every single one of us will be where we'll be in a year from now or 5 or 10 years from now because of the decisions we make from today on. So all of you have a decision to make, right? It's like, keep doing things the same way. Keep having the financial system use you instead of you using the financial system for your benefit, or make a decision and do things differently and join this program and learn these strategies and reinvent your personal financial system and start swimming downstream financially. You know, it's like, we work hard enough. Like, let's learn how to leverage and do things as efficiently as possible. So I hope you all make a wise decision. Hope you all join Fynanc Academy. I hope I get to see you in there and meet you in person soon at one of our events, or if I get to come out to one of your meetings at St. Louis RIA sometime soon, which I hope is the case. And again, thank you all for your time. Lloyd, John, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. And
another question. You say you give a 15-day guarantee. Is there any time limit on the discount to $797?
So yeah, there is. So the time limit to join. So yeah, again, there's the 15-day money back guarantee. So anytime in the next 15 days, if you join and and for some reason you say this isn't for me, which we never have people cancel because they see how valuable it is. But you have that 15 days risk-free. Check it out, try it out. But as far as the time limit on this offer that we're making here tonight for the discounted price and for all these bonuses, I think we're going to have this go. I don't know if we decided on this, but we're willing to let this go. And, I think I know you all recorded tonight's meeting and you're going to send this out to your people if they want to watch it again, or, maybe a spouse wasn't available or a partner or something like that. So today is Tuesday, right? Today is Tuesday. So if we can we can extend this offer to maybe Friday at midnight. Does that work for you all?
Okay, sure. That's great, Paul.
Or maybe Sunday. Maybe we'll do it. Let's do Sunday at midnight. This way we'll give people the weekend if they can't do it during the week.
A lot of people do it during the week. And if you do it till Sunday at midnight.
Sunday at midnight, you got it. We'll do it. We'll keep the offer alive and available till Sunday at midnight. This way, if people, give people some time to watch it again if they want, or have their partner or spouse watch it. And yeah, this Sunday at midnight's perfect.
Thank you, Paul. That's
wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's
great.
My
pleasure. You got it, guys.
Appreciate it. Great stuff.
My pleasure.
Yeah, really good hearing you again. I really like how you get excited about this. It gets me excited about it. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Lloyd. Yeah, I'm a little passionate about this stuff.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys a lot, and appreciate your group. You guys are doing an amazing job with St. Louis REIA. And, you know, I travel all over, work with REIAs all over the country. So for everybody who's still here, you have a really great thing going. Really hats off to you guys for the work you do and all the time and dedication. You have a really amazing club there. So appreciate it. Appreciate being here. Appreciate you having me. And I hope I get to see you guys live and in person soon.
Yeah, sometime soon.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. You got it, guys.
Thank you
All right.
tonight.
Signing off. Great night, everybody. Thanks so much.
Hey, take care.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.